Well, that's easy for you to say. You don't know him. I'll show the picture to him if I think the moment is right. He knows I'm a painter. He's got to be expecting it. No. It depends on his mood. Don't tell me what to do. You're just like him. He's here. I'll tell you how it goes. Pray for me. Good morning.
Morning. I got the other maroon. I'll take over the base picture. You finish preparing the canvas. Oh, I went by the Seagram building last night. It's coming along.
How's the restaurant?
It's still under construction, but they took me around. I got a sense of it.
And?
Too much natural light, as always. But it'll work. You'll be able to see the murals from the main dining room. I made some sketches. I'll find them for you.
You ever worry it's not the right place for them?
How can it not be the right place for them? They're being created specifically for that place. Sometimes your logic baffles me.
So I read Nietzsche, Birth of Tragedy, like you said.
Like I said?
You said if I wanted to know about Jackson Pollock, I had to read The Birth of Tragedy.
I said that?
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's very like something I would say.
So what about Pollock?
Well, first tell me what you make of the book.
Interesting.
That's like saying red. Don't be enigmatic. You're too young to be enigmatic.
I think I know why you wanted me to read it.
Why?
Because you see yourself as Apollo, and you see him as Dionysus.
Don't be so pedestrian. Think more.
Dionysus is the god of wine and excess, of movement and transformation. This is Pollock. Wild, rebellious, drunken, and unrestrained. Apollo is the god of order, method, boundaries. This is Rothko. Intellectual, rabbinical, sober, and restrained. He splatters paint, you study it. He's Dionysus, and you're Apollo.
Exactly right, but for entirely missing the point.
How so?
You missed the tragedy. The point is always the tragedy.
For you?
Whoa. You think human beings can be divided up so neatly into character types? You think the multifarious complexities and nuances of the psyche, evolving through countless generations, perverted and demented through social neurosis and personal anguish, molded by faith or lack of faith, can all be so goddamn simple? Pollock is emotion, Rothko is intellect. You embarrass yourself. Think more.
Maybe it's like one of your paintings.
Most things are. How?
Dark and light, order and chaos, existing at the same time, in the same plane, pulsing back and forth. We pulse too. We are subjects of both Apollo and Dionysus, not one or the other. We ebb and flow like the colors in your pictures. The ecstasy of the Dionysian at war with the restraint of the Apollonian.
Not at war.
Not at war?
It's not really conflict, more like symbiosis.
They need each other. Dionysus' passion is focused, is made bearable by Apollo's will to form. In fact, the only way we can endure the sheer ferocity of Dionysus' emotion is because we have the control and intelligence of Apollo. Otherwise, the emotion would overwhelm us. So, back and forth we go, myth to myth, pulsating.
Yeah, and the perfect life would be perfectly balanced between the two, everlastingly on the fulcrum. But our tragedy is we can never achieve that balance. We exist, all of us, for all time, in a state of perpetual dissonance. Oh, we long for the raw truth of emotion, but can only endure it with the cool lie of reason. We seek to capture the ephemeral, the miraculous, slap it onto a canvas, stopping time. But like an entomologist pinning a butterfly, it dies when we try. And we're foolish that way, we human beings. We try to make the red black.
But the black is always there. Like the mantle in Matisse.
Like the snow outside the window. Never goes away. Once glimpsed, we can't help but be preoccupied with it. For the intimations of our own mortality are everywhere. But still we go on. Clinging to that tiny bit of hope, that red that makes the rest endurable.
Or just less unendurable.
Well, that's my friend Jackson Pollock. Finally, it was just unendurable.
What do you mean?
His suicide.
He didn't commit suicide.
Oh, didn't he?
Jackson Pollock died in a car accident.
A man spends years of his life getting drunk. Day after day, he's hammered. He then gets into an Oldsmobile convertible and races around these little country roads like a lunatic. You tell me what that is, if not a lazy suicide. Believe me, when I commit suicide, there won't be any doubt about it. No mysterious crumpled car in a ditch. Did he or didn't he? Oh, it gives me a headache. It's so boring.
When you commit suicide?
What?
You said when I commit suicide.
No, I didn't.
You did.
You misheard me. Let me tell you one thing about your hero. That man confronted his tragedy. He was valiant in the face of it. He endured as long as he could, and then he tried to recede from life. But how could he? He was Jackson Pollock.
What was his tragedy?
He became famous.
Don't be glib.
His muse evacuated. He grew tired of his form. He grew tired of himself. He lost faith in his viewers. Take your goddamn pick. He no longer believed there were any real human beings out there left to even look at pictures.
How does that happen to a man?
Yeah, better you should ask how occasionally it doesn't happen.
I mean, he's an artist. He's in Life magazine. He's young. He's famous. He has money.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Here's a schmuck from Wyoming who can paint. Suddenly, he's a commodity. He's Jackson Pollock. Let me tell you, kid, that Oldsmobile convertible really did kill him. Not because it crashed, because it existed. Why the fuck did Jackson Pollock have an Oldsmobile convertible?
So artists should starve.
Yes, artists should starve. Except me.
Take a look at the canvas.
Yeah. Oh, you would have loved Jackson. He was a downtown guy, real bohemian. No banker's hours for him, believe you me. Every night with the drinking and the talking and the fighting and the dancing and the staying up late. Like everyone's romantic idea of what an artist ought to be. The anti-Rothko. At his worst, you still loved him, though. You loved him because he loved art so much. He thought it mattered. He thought painting mattered. Does not the poignancy of that stop your heart? How could this story not end in tragedy? Goya said, we have art that we may not perish from truth. Well, Pollock saw some truth, and then he didn't have art to protect him anymore. Who survives that? Okay, the canvas up against the easel, I think. Oh, I was walking up to my house last week and this couple was passing. The lady looks in the window and says, "Oh, I wonder who owns all those Rothkos." Just like that, I'm a noun. A Rothko.
A commodity.
An overmantel.
A what?
The overmantels, you know. Those paintings doomed to become mere decoration over the fireplace in some penthouse. They say to you, "I need something to work with the sofa." You understand? Something bright and cheery for the breakfast nook, which is orange. You got something in orange? Or burnt umber? Or seafoam green? Here's a paint chip from the Sherwin-Williams. Oh, and can you cut it down to fit the sideboard? Or even worse, "Darling, I simply must have one because my neighbor has one, that social climbing bitch. In fact, if she has one, I need 3. Or even worse, "I gotta have one because the New York Times tells me I gotta have one." Or someone told me the New York Times tells me I gotta have one because who's got time to read the New York Times anymore? No. Don't make me look at it. No, I never look at it. It's so depressing, all those fuzzy rectangles. My kid could do this in kindergarten. This whole thing's a scam. The guy's nothing but a fraud. But still they buy it. It's an investment. It's screwing with the neighbors. It's buying class. It's buying taste. It goes with the lamp. It's cheaper than a Pollock. It's interior decoration. It's anything but what it is. Okie dokie. Let's prime the canvas. Base mixture.
Canvas is secure.
All right, brushes. No, wait. No. Ready?
Ready.
Now. So. It'll do? Huh? Maybe it'll do? Possibly adequate? What do you think?
You mean me? You want me to answer?
Who else?
It's, a good ground. A good base layer, nice and even.
Yeah, we'll see when it dries. Then I can start to paint.
You really care what I think?
Not at all. What?
Nothing.
No, what is it?
It's strange. I'm remembering something. The, color is...
What?
Doesn't matter.
What?
Dried blood. When the blood dried, it got darker. On the carpet.
Which carpet?
Where my parents died. It's exactly the color. When the blood dried, it got darker. That surprised me. I remember being surprised by that.
What happened to your parents?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yes, you do.
They were murdered.
Did you say murdered? How old were you?
7. This was back in Iowa.
What happened?
I honestly don't remember it too well.
Sure you do. What do you see? Ken, what do you see?
I woke up, and the first thing I saw was the snow outside my window. I was glad it snowed because it was Saturday, and I could go sledding. My dad would take me sledding, me and my sister. But I didn't smell anything. That was weird. Normally my mom would be up making breakfast. It was really quiet. I put on my slippers. They were those neolite ones that look like moccasins. Go into the hall. Now it's really quiet. And it's cold. There's a window open somewhere. Then I see my sister. She's just standing in the hallway, staring into my parents' room. The door is open. My sister... She's standing in a puddle of pee. Just staring, her eyes. I go to the door and look in and see the snow first. Outside the window, so much snow, maybe I'll still go sledding. And then the blood. The bed is stained with it. And the wall. There on the bed. It was a knife. Apparently it was a knife, I found out later. Burglars, I found out at least 2 of them, but right now I don't know what to do. I just... see. I don't want my sister to see anymore, my little sister. I turn around and push her out and shut the door. The door handle, with blood, is red. That's all.
What happened then?
You mean after that? Nothing really. We went to the neighbors and they called the police.
Now, what happened to you two?
State took us, foster homes. People were nice, actually. They kept us together, but they shuffled us around a lot. We were rootless. She's married to a CPA now.
Rootless?
Never belonged. Never had a place.
Did they find the guys who did it?
No. I paint pictures of them sometimes.
You paint pictures of the men who killed your parents?
What I imagine them to look like.
Which is what?
Normal.
You know, when I was a kid in Russia, I saw the Cossacks cutting people up and tossing them into pits. At least I think I remember that. Or maybe someone just told me about it. Or I'm just being dramatic. It's hard to say sometimes.
How old were you when you came here?
10. We went to Portland. Lived in the ghetto alongside all the other thinky-talky Jews. I was Marcus Rothko then.
You changed your name?
Yeah, my first dealer said he had too many Jewish painters on the books. So Marcus Rothko becomes Mark Rothko. Now, nobody knows I'm a Jew.
Can I ask you something?
Can I stop you?
Are you really scared of black?
No, I'm really scared of the absence of light.
Like going blind?
Like going dead.
And you equate the color black with death.
Doesn't everyone?
I'm asking you.
Yes, I equate the color black with the diminution of the life force.
Black means decay and darkness.
Doesn't it?
Because black is the lack of red, if you will.
Because black is the opposite of red. Not on the spectrum, but in reality.
I'm talking about in painting.
Then talk about painting.
In your pictures, the bold colors are the Dionysian element, kept in check by strict geometric shapes, the Apollonian element. The bright colors are your passion, your will to survive, your life force. But if black swallows those bright colors, then you lose that excess and extravagance, and what do you have left?
Go on, I'm fascinated by me.
Lose those colors, and you have order with no content. You have mathematics with no numbers, nothing but empty, arid boxes.
And trust me, as you get older, those colors are harder to sustain. The palette fades, and we race to catch it before it's gone.
But
what?
Never mind.
What?
You'll get mad.
Me?
You will.
And?
I just think it's kind of sentimental to equate black with death. That seems an antiquated notion, sort of romantic.
Romantic?
I mean, not honest.
Really?
In reality, we both know black is just a tool, like ochre or magenta. It has no affect. Seeing it as malevolent is a weird sort of chromatic anthropomorphizing.
Oh, you think so? What about equating white with death, like snow?
That's different. That's just a personal reaction. I'm not building a whole artistic sensibility around it.
Maybe you should.
I don't think...
Use your own life. Why not?
It's not that
Unless you're scared of it.
I'm not scared.
Get into all that white.
I'm not scared. It's just self-indulgence.
If you say so.
Not all art has to be psychodrama.
Doesn't it?
No.
You paint pictures of the men who killed your parents.
That's not all I paint.
You know, maybe it should be. Then maybe you'd understand what black is.
Back to that.
Always.
At least equating white with death isn't so predictable.
Oh, I'm predictable now.
Kind of.
Dishonest and predictable.
Come on, a painter gets older, the color black starts to infuse his work. Therefore, the cliche declension goes, he's depressed. He's fearing death. He's losing touch. He's losing relevance. He's saying goodbye.
Yeah, that's a cliche except for when it's not.
But it's not true.
Oh, now you know truth?
Look at Van Gogh.
Oh, come on.
His last pictures are all color. He goes out and paints the most ecstatic yellows and blues known to man, then shoots himself. Or Matisse, his last works were nothing but great shocks of primary colors.
You admire those colors?
Absolutely.
Why?
Well, Matisse, he was dying. He knew he was dying, but still he was Matisse. When he got too ill to hold a paintbrush, he used scissors, cutting up paper and making collages. He never gave up. On his deathbed, he was still organizing the color patterns on the ceiling. He had to be who he was.
And you think I'm the romantic? Oh, can't you do any better than that? Matisse, the dying hero, struggling with his last puny gasp to finish the final masterpiece. Oh, and Jackson Pollock, the beautiful doomed youth, dying like Chatterton in his classic Pietà pose. Oh, and Van Gogh, of course, Van Gogh. Trotted out on all occasions. Van Gogh, the ubiquitous symbol for everything. Van Gogh, the misunderstood martyr. You insult these men. You insult these men by reducing them to your own adolescent stereotypes. Grapple with them, yes, argue with them always, but don't think you understand them. Don't think you have captured them. They're beyond you. Spend a lifetime with them. A lifetime. You might have one moment of insight into their pain. Until then, young man, allow them their grandeur in silence. Silence is so accurate.
We need some coffee. Mind if I go out?
Go on. No. Wait. In the National Gallery in London, there's a picture by Rembrandt. It's called Belshazzar's Feast. It's an Old Testament story from Daniel. Belshazzar, the king of Babylon, is giving a feast and he blasphemes. So a divine hand appears and writes some Hebrew words on the wall as a warning. In that painting, those words pulsate from the dark canvas like something miraculous. Rembrandt's Hebrew was atrocious, as you can imagine, but he wrote, Mene, mene, tekel ufarsin. You have been weighed in the balance and have been found wanting. That's what black is to me. What is it to you?